Welcome, parents, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Brooke Adams, and I am one of the pre-K teachers at Prince of Peace Christian School. I am presenting on the importance of phonological and phonemic awareness. I understand if you are asking yourself, what is that? Simply put, phonological and phonemic awareness contribute to the life skills of language and literacy. Language is how we speak to communicate, much like I am communicating with you in this moment. Literacy is how we communicate in written form. As young children learn to speak, they develop a series of skills and knowledge that eventually allow them to become successful readers and writers. Both phonological and phonemic awareness lay an essential foundation for strong auditory, speaking, reading, and writing abilities. So to fully understand phonological awareness, we need to understand the meaning of phonology. And I'm going to share my screen right now to help us understand this concept. So what is phonological awareness? Phonology is the science of speech sounds, drawing upon our listening and speaking skills, including the theory of sound change in a language. Note that this definition refers to sound, indicating that phonological awareness applies to spoken or oral language only. Phonological awareness, then, can be thought of as a pyramid of learning, as you can see illustrated on my graphic. Phonology, the science of speech sounds, as we just discussed, is the base of the pyramid. For students to apply this notion, they begin to recognize that sounds form large chunks of speech, which are known as sentences. Later, students start to realize that sentences are comprised of separate components, words. And at this juncture, students also become familiar with the fact that words can have similar sounds, thus starting the realization of rhyming knowledge. Sounds of words are then recognizable as smaller sections, syllables, and eventually the top of our phonology pyramid is capped with the smallest language sound, phonemes. It is at the top of our pyramid where students achieve phonemic awareness, the understanding that individual sounds make up spoken words. So our entire pyramid encompasses all that is phonological awareness, and a subset of phonological awareness is our phonemic awareness. So now that we understand phonological and phonemic awareness, let's discuss why exactly these are important. Research has shown us that children who have limited instruction in phonological and phonemic awareness, or also children who just simply struggle with these concepts, are at greater risk for reading difficulties later. When children struggle with reading fluency, their ability to learn effectively in all other subjects suffers. In essence, phonological and phonemic awareness are the bridge between spoken language and also literacy, which is reading and writing. Children who acquire strong working knowledge of sentence form and composition, vocabulary, alliteration, rhyming, and letter sounds are better equipped to apply this knowledge for written text comprehension. This bridge becomes stronger when students receive instructional support at home and school, ultimately resulting in stronger reading skills and a stronger student overall. As with most developmental milestones, a child's ability to read does not happen overnight. Rather, reading is progressive, first starting with early literacy skills. Early literacy skills are rooted in phonological and phonemic awareness and evolve out of a child's aptitude of oral language. To bolster a child's early reading skills, informed teachers intentionally focus on the following early literacy skills. Vocabulary. Children are exposed to vocabulary every time they hear or engage in conversation, listen to a story or song, or watch television. Words are all around us. And as children experiment with spoken vocabulary, they gain an understanding of how words fit into sentences differently. Being able to pull from a large vocabulary bank will make early reading more meaningful and successful for young learners as they recognize the same prints in words in print. Phonological awareness, again, Here's that wonderful, wonderful term. I bring it up because it plays such an important role. When children are more sensitive to the individual sounds within spoken words, they will show greater achievement in early reading by being able to sound out the written words. Next, we have print awareness, and this is one of my favorite early literacy skills to teach. Print awareness refers to the concept of linking our spoken words to recognize that these same words and sounds have specific written meaning in our environment. Think about all the places that we see written words in our environment. We have signs on buildings, traffic signs, newspapers, magazines, cereal boxes, and all product packaging. As a teacher, it is rewarding to see a child's face light up when they realize that they can read environmental print. Print awareness also entails instruction of how print is read in our language, from front to back, left to right, and then top to bottom. Letter naming, also known as the alphabetic principle. As the name implies, this refers to children learning letters of the alphabet, but not exactly in the traditional way of thinking. The alphabetic principle focuses on a child's ability to relate each letter name to the phonemic sounds coupled with each letter. It is less about rote recitation of the alphabet and more about the connecting the letter symbol to the letter sounds. Listening. A child's ability to listen to spoken language and understand what is being said is a strong indicator for future reading success. It is through listening that children develop competency in vocabulary, syntax, and drawing upon prior ideas within a conversation. Listening skills help a child distinguish phonemes when heard at different rates of speech from different speakers. And that leads us to speaking itself. Children will naturally develop speech patterns, vocabulary, and mannerisms that they hear and see around them. As such, it is important for teachers to provide ample opportunity for young learners to practice speaking through various play and small group settings. By having these opportunities to engage in conversations with peers, family, and various adults, children develop knowledge of basic conversation and language conventions. Students will recognize these conventions when they connect their oral language to the written words. Next, we have comprehension. Strong teachers perpetually assess students for comprehension. As a child develops stronger listening and speaking skills, her comprehension of content and social cues also increase. This act of processing information will be applied to reading as well. Through this process, a child also learns how to seek clarification or additional information by asking questions. Intentional focus on these early literacy concepts will serve children well as they draw upon their oral language knowledge to gain reading proficiency. So next, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some small group activities that are designed specifically to help with these early literacy concepts. For vocabulary, I recommend an interactive word wall. My class loves this activity. Whenever we begin a new theme or unit, I introduce new vocabulary through related stories or large group instruction. The class dictates ideas to me as I write them on a large poster, which therefore models writing. We work together in small groups to find common objects or pictures to symbolically define our new vocabulary. For example, in a recent science unit about pumpkins, the class learned the word pulp. On our poster, we included a photograph of the pulp that we had actually carved out of a pumpkin in our class, and we also affixed a few strands of the pulp to the poster. The vocabulary then becomes meaningful because students have direct experience and tangible evidence to support the definition. This visual reminder of the word serves as a resource to support their spoken language use of this new vocabulary. For phonological awareness, I enjoy playing a sound circle game. It's a fun way for small groups to engage socially while also strengthening their phonemic awareness. I have my group sit in a circle, and then I will ask them questions or offer commands that are specific to phonemes. For example, I might say, stand up if your name starts with the B sound. Or I might say, Carter, how many friends in our circle have the T sound in their name? The students will learn to evaluate specific phonemes while also engaging kinesthetically. For example, for exceptional learners, I can differentiate. by asking about middle phonemes or even changing the onset sounds of words. For print concepts, I enjoy an activity called book investigation. I provide each student in my small group with a magnifying glass or a fun pair of glasses. Together, we become investigators as we look to see if our book or other print material contains certain elements of printed text. This would include finding the title, the author, the illustrator, front cover, the middle of the book, or the back cover. Depending on student readiness and skill level, I may incorporate larger books to include tables of contents, index, and page numbers to scaffold for advanced learners. For those students still struggling with the concepts, I will focus on title and author only, providing additional examples and explanations as needed. To support letter naming, we will play a name game. A really fun way to do this is just help students identify the letters of their own names. Names are valuable and meaningful to young learners. So using our same magnifying glasses, we will look closely at the letters of our own names. As students become more familiar with the letters of their names, they can then focus on the letters of their friends' names. We do this so that we're not just vaguely looking at the entire alphabet, but we're looking at letters specific to meaning and content with the child's name. For listening skills, we will play a version of This and That, the Three Blind Mice edition. This or that, the students will wear blindfolds to role play the mice. And as they're blindfolded, students will get to tell me which letter sound I am saying. For example, I might ask, which sound is the letter B? Is it the B or is it S? We will do several rounds together, and then I will challenge individual students in the group. For advanced students, they will take turns offering a this or that question to their blindfolded peers. I will also scaffold student knowledge by increasing difficulty. I might even say, which word starts with the L sound? Is it this, lion, or is it that, tiger? To work on our early literacy speaking skills, we will play a game of pair and share. Students will pair up with each other and be asked to tell each other about themselves. This may be something like what they've learned that day, or a place that they have visited over the weekend, or a food that they ate for breakfast. The give and take of this information allows students to practice the conventions of speech and conversation etiquette. An added benefit is that it builds relationships and promotes cultural awareness while developing these literacy skills. Lastly, a read aloud is a wonderful way to increase engaged student comprehension. I enjoy reading a story to small groups of listeners. I divide these groups by ability so that I can easily differentiate between my exceptional learners and those who might need a little bit more practice. This way, the scope and level of my story and follow-up instructions and questions relate to their abilities. After the story, students help me retell the story page by page. If learners are struggling with comprehension, I incorporate the chunking strategy, allowing students to fill in the blank of information that they have understood from my story. So thank you for joining me today for this important talk about phonological and phonemic awareness. Enjoy working with your students.